My name is David Merkel. I'm pastor at Columbia Falls United Methodist Church in Columbia Falls, Montana. I'm on the advisory council for CASA for Kids here in Flathead County in Montana. I decided to accept the invitation to the CASA advisory council because I'm continually seeking ways in which to reach out into the community for those that are disempowered. Continually we see generation after generation of families in which disempowerment and complete lack of love and affection contributes to problems in society. There's no peace at home, and so hence there's going to be no peace in the world if we don't start with the individual and in the home. CASA is one of those organizations that not only serves in a way as a band-aid to help solve and cure the sores that we see from the brokenness, but they go deeper than that and they seek to break those cycles of disempowerment and hurt and abuse and neglect in families that seems to continue generation after generation. When I describe CASA to my parishioners, the thing that has the biggest impact is the numbers of children in this area who have been removed from their homes due to neglect or abuse. And those numbers can be staggering, knowing that in this area, Flathead County, it's a populous area, but it's by no means a metropolitan area. But the numbers of children that are pulled out of their homes every day in this county alone averages 1 every 3 days. And at this moment, the last number I heard, there's over 75 children currently being served by CASA for Kids. And that is an enormous number that most people choose to ignore, and so once they face the reality of it, it comes as a bit of a shock. So those are some of the facts, and in encouraging a group of people, whether it's my congregation or a group of people in the community or throughout the county, encouraging them to take action based on those facts can be difficult because it's so easy for people to look away from the hurt and the pain in this world, when in reality, if we're going to make this world a better place, we have to honestly and with compassion look at the hurt and the pain in the world and begin to work with love and that sense of hope that can be rebuilt. I have seen lives being rebuilt. I can't say specifically it was because of my actions or the actions of someone that I spoke to about CASA for Kids. And I probably wouldn't admit it if I did. Because what's much more important is that we actually all work together to make it happen. And I've seen the cases, not all of them, but a good number of cases of these children and their families that have come out, and it's such an overwhelming experience. It's difficult to put into words how meaningful it is and how fulfilling it is to see these children actually begin to appreciate and enjoy life. So my job then is to empower the saints or the people that I encounter to do the work of the ministry. For so long, people thought they hired pastors at churches to do all the ministry, when in fact that we're all in it together. And it is very fulfilling for me to begin to see people that were formerly just, as we call them, pew sitters, and actually embrace what they've taken in and learned. They've thought it through, and they begin to take action themselves, and they realize how fulfilling that in itself can be and how meaningful that can be. And then you begin to see the sparks, just the beginning sparks of a society and a world that's beginning to change for the better. My dream and hope in life is to actually see a world at peace, and that doesn't necessarily just mean from conflict of war. I cast a vision for the church I'm at now that reads as follows: we see a world at peace, which begins with peace in the heart, in the family, and in the home. A society in a world that's settled and is peaceful and is filled with compassion is one in which each person holds this peace that passes all understanding deep in their hearts. And then they begin to express that at home, and then that grows into the communities, into counties, the states, the nations, and the world. And my goal would be to see that fulfilled. I doubt I'll see it in my lifetime, but what would be extremely meaningful for me would be to see an adult come into my presence, an adult who had formerly been a child in a family that had been disempowered, where this child experienced pain and abuse and neglect. And their lives were turned around because of the actions and the compassionate actions of others. And that person is now made once again about as whole as they can be, and they enter society and begin to share their gifts with others, and they express that joy. And for me to be able to see them actively engage in a wholesome and a healthy way with other people and with society, even going so far as to performing their marriage or baptism, would be extremely meaningful for me.